live. Cool. So welcome to today's garden class. This is our last month, so we got 4 left. And this one's kind of how to take the mistakes out of things, some brown thumb problems, some classic mistakes newbies make. We just want to cover that so our friends stop making that mistake. And so there's some key things you can do right now that really up your game. And there's some classic failures that seem to be, that happen. And this is the time when they happen. So let me explain who I am. I'm glad you guys are online. Glad you're here. Front row seat just for you. My name's Ken. I own the place with my daughter, Mackenzie. So it's a family business. And this is kind of one of our claim to fames is we seem to simplify gardening and help you just make less mistakes. Let me just get one thing out of the way. Gardening is learned by making mistakes. If you want to go garden and not kill anything, you probably should take up golf or something else. Because you learn by making mistakes. Then hopefully you're not ever going backwards. You want to kind of go go this way. This is kind of how you learn gardening. That's also why gardening is so social. Because you're leaning over the fence, you're talking to your neighbors going, hey, God, I'm struggling with this pine tree over here. What is going on? Oh yeah, I'm overwatering mine too. It's all this heavy clay soil. And you just learn what's happening. So it's so social. So, but we do want to cover 2 main things that there's an opportunity right now, but probably until the end of the month. So this is a time when things grow fast. If you notice, your roses are going like crazy. The grasses are just in full glory. The pansies, I planted some pansies a couple weeks ago. They're just like full on, like showstoppers. Things grow fast. And the reason is real bright days, chilly nights, but not cold. And so that's like the perfect zone for plants. So fall is for planting. That's kind of a saying. It truly does happen that way. So you can plant. So you Phoenix folks, it's hard for Palm Springs, Southern California, Tucson folk. You folks go, oh no, you can't plant. It might be winter soon. No, we're dealing with 4-season plants here. They like the cold. They're okay with that. Would I go out and plant a bougainvillea right now? Something blooming in Phoenix right now? No, because those things are annuals up here. They die out in the winter. But snapdragons aren't. They're glorious. They love the fall and early winter. Pansies, violas, mums, all these things love this time of year. Right now I'm changing out my vegetables. The tomatoes actually I have too many tomatoes. I don't know what I'm going to do with them all. It's like ridiculous. Make piles of them. It's crazy. Yeah. I probably should have. That's a good idea. Next week. Come to class next week. So peppers, I got too many peppers, but some things are fading, like the zucchinis. I'm getting those things out of there. They're the cucumbers, they are done. You're not going to get another one, so I'm ripping those things out. And I'm planting or putting some of my fall and winter vegetables. Those are going to be things that are leafy. So there's 2 types of vegetables, bottom line. There's summer lovers. They like bright sun, and there's winter lovers, or up here it's fall and winter lovers. So if they form a fruit, watermelons, tomatoes, cucumbers, that's a summer lover. They don't like frost. If you look at those things cold, they start to wilt and they start to wither. They need a parka. If it's below 50 degrees, they're like freezing. They love the summer. Some things don't like the summer. Those are going to be your leafy things. So if you're harvesting the flower, like broccoli or cauliflower, those things like more cool. Lettuce, leafy spinach, Brussels sprouts. These are things that you plant now. You'll be harvesting broccoli and cauliflower for Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner. So if you plant those things, a big mistake some folks make is they plant those leafy things in May. And we're just about to get hot in June. It goes to 90, gets dry. And those leafy things will start to bolt. They start to flower. You can't hold them back. They're just going up. It's about to end. I'm just gonna seed real quick and then give up the ghost because summer's coming and we don't like summer. So they start to get real bitter tasting. The flavor goes off. You're best planting those very early, like March into February, or late fall. Now through Thanksgiving, those are your peak windows for fall or winter types of vegetables and flowers. Same thing with pansies, violas, snapdragons. These are all things that love the cool. So you want to plant them now. Big mistake I find newbies make is they plant that they see all the pansies all winter. They've been seeing pansies. They're beautiful. They're going, oh, I want some of those too. So they come to the nursery in the spring. They buy the last crop in the end of April, May, and they put them out in the yard, and you can't water those things enough once June comes. They just don't like the heat. So they collapse. You come home one day from like the chiropractor or the grocery store or your neighbor's house, and they're just flat over dead, like in one afternoon. It's the heat that gets them. No matter how much you water them, they can't take up the heat. They just don't like the heat. They love snow. They love cold. They love wind. They love everything about now through next May. This is their time. This is when you plant those things. So right now I'm trying to take out some of my vegetables, putting in my winter things. Some of my summer flowers like vinca. They were getting yellow. They were blooming, but they looked terrible. They love 90, 100 degree weather. They love the heat. They love summer. So I pulled those things out, planted some pansies, went to Portugal for 2 weeks, came back, and they were beautiful. I mean, they're full. And that's kind of what you want. And they'll look like that just flat out, no matter the month, they're going to look like that until next June. Then they're just going to die. It's not your brown thumbs. They don't like that season. So you need to work with the environment, not against it. So now there's annuals and there's perennials. You know the difference? So P and perennial, P and permanent. P is the permanent one. Plant it once, comes back for years. Annuals live for the season, just right now. So another mistake you could make possibly, although you all you're at a garden class. It's November. You're making less mistakes just because it's on your radar than your neighbors are. So give yourself some credit. But if you go over to the big box store and they've got that last crop of summer plants, because they're buying for their Phoenix stores. They're not buying for us. Give 50 of those every one of my stores in Arizona. Boom. You go into the Prescott store and buy those. You're going to take them home. You're going to be dead by Christmas because they're annuals. They don't like the cold. They were meant to be planted in the summer down in Phoenix. That's all they know is summer. I mean, they only have one season, hot. And so you can plant those things and they keep going. So that's one kind of watch what you're planting and when, and it'll help you or just shop at your local family garden center. We don't have the summer things here. We only have the fall and winter things that are right for here. At the time you're supposed to use them. Okay, let's cover. I've got 4 handouts for you. Let me give those to you. So let's do this. I printed out the ones I could. I have 1 copy of each. There's that. I'll hand that to you. Put your email down. Write slowly because I will be putting those I'll be emailing it to you personally. And some of you have terrible handwriting. It's atrocious. So just kind of write it where I can see the difference between B and 6 or some of these other things. I've got the adorable holiday trees that steal the show. That's an article coming up. So what you're seeing is we're shifting away from our summer shrubs kind of stuff, and it's going over to holidays. So you see the plants wrapped in red. We're getting ready for the holidays. And some of them we try to go with the ones that are cute, that can go by the front door. You can decorate with some lights and put some bows on it and go, oh, it's holidays. It's the time of year. So I'll be covering some of those. Who would like this one over here? Adorable holiday trees. I'll give it to my big burly man. That's for you. I've got making sense of fall fertilizer. We're going to go deep into food. We got to cover this. And why? Okay. No, it's good. You're anxious. That's front row seat. And we're going to cover how to fertilize. All of you are getting a copy of this. If you put your email down, everyone gets the digital copy. It'll be there by Monday. I don't know. It depends on when my parking lot leak gets done. I might get it to you today, but for sure on Monday. And then fall garden tips. We're covering these things. So they're going to be fall planting. You can plant things now. As long as it's fall things, you're good. Trees, evergreens, great time to plant. Big grasses like pampas grass, coral forester grass, muley grass. This is your time to plant those. You have better selection, and they love to grow now. Pansy, snapdragons, covered some of that. We're covering cleared up the space, that is freeing up some garden space so you can have some color. So right now my containers by the front door, by the front beds, so I'm trying to think right now when it's snowing outside and I'm not going out today. My wife's going to bake cookies. I'm going to sip tea all day. I might go into my office, but I'm not going outside. It's nasty. But I'm a gardener and I want to see some pretty things. But I'm looking out my bay window or out my front door. I want to see some beauty. So I'm strategically trying to plant some things that will look fantastic when that happens, January. So I'm trying to be strategic. So those containers by the front door, I'm trying to get those things that are summer plants. They're glorious right now. Your geraniums are over the top. Be bold. Dig them up. These are not puppy dogs. These are plants. They're going to be gone in 3 weeks anyway. Just make the commitment, put some color, some winter color. So when you look out that door, you go, oh, I went to that class. That guy was talking. He said to plant some pansies, and I love those all winter long. And that's going to be things like this. These are all pansies. There you go. Pansies and violas, or your grandparents called them Johnny Jump Ups. They go by different names, but that's the same thing. Both these guys love, 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 love everything from now through next May. They're just going to get more. They will never be without color. They're going to have flowers on them. If you get a foot of snow some January, they're going to be buried. You're going to, I wonder if they lived. I wonder if they lived. The snow pops up. They just go, boom. Flowers come right through the snow. They're glorious. So you can do that here. For you folks in the Midwest, you can't do that there because come on, it's 8-foot frost line. It's ice. Your garden, but we don't get that here. We only have glorious days every day of the year. It's nice. So these plants they don't shut down like they do in the Midwest. It's kind of a unique bubble here that we can, it's better. That's why we live here. It doesn't get cold. It doesn't get hot. It's just right. Anyway, pansies. This is another one. In fact, these go together. That's beautiful. This is ornamental kale. It's actually related to cabbage, kales. So it's related to that, only it's pretty. You could eat it. I've tried it. I don't recommend it. It's got a bitter off flavor to it. Whereas regular kale, I love kale. This one is just for beauty. Frequently, we'll plant this one by a front door or at hotels. We love to plant them at the front as you go in because as it gets warm in the spring, they'll start to bolt. They start to elongate, get these real tall yellow pinnacles to it, and they're really fragrant. So you'll walk by and go, oh, what is that smell? And it's the ornamental kale. So in these plant these on the base, and they kind of flow over. So you can keep both of these guys love now. Both of these, Javelina love these. Rabbits love these. Squirrels everything loves these. In fact, these are edible flowers. So don't plant them where the critters can. These are in my backyard. Or I just planted some I've got some pillars about this tall platforms, and I've got big bowls, and I've got pansies up there where they can't get to it. Because my nemesis is Javelina. There's herds of them. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. So, but they'll eat this night 1. They'll eat this night 2. So anyway, just be careful. They don't eat these for some reason. I mean, this looks delicious, but they don't bother it. And a lot of plants have a sap inside of them. This has got a kind of a real thick sap to it. This is a snapdragon. Comes a lot of colors. They don't eat any of the colors. It thinks it's a wildflower. So you'll never get just one snapdragon. You always get multiple. So it'll reseed and spill out and come up over there. And as long as it's coming up where you want it to, it's a flower. When it starts to come up where you don't want it to, it's a weed. So pull it up. Keep it under control. These guys love blooming through the end of the year. And then what will happen is it keeps throwing flowers up the stem. And eventually get cold enough, usually about Christmas or so, it'll stop blooming, but it'll still have nice green to it. What I'll do is I'll take my pruners or scissors, and I'll just cut those seed heads off. And then I leave this nice green body to it because it'll be evergreen. It'll stay, it doesn't hibernate underground, it stays green. So, but I don't like the spent flowers. Some of you artists, you'll spray paint the seed heads, make them Christmas color or something. I just cut them off. And then it just, by Valentine's, sometime in mid-February, things start to break. And this thing starts to bloom again. Just goes right back at it. It's got a very long bloom cycle. These are mums. Enough said. Actually, there's a difference. There's garden mums and there's floral grade mums. Just so you know, I don't know. Some are grown in greenhouses. Some are grown outside. You, if you're a gardener, want the ones grown outdoors because now you can plant those and they're going to basically not transplant, shock, or freak out and die. Whereas a floral grade that's meant to be a gift. Here, Mom, I love you. Is never meant to live more than a few weeks and then be thrown away. It's like a floral bouquet. So there's garden mums and there's floral grade mums. You want to plant garden mums. Of course, the only ones we sell are, because we're selling to gardeners.
Do those last longer than the snapdragons?
No, what they'll do is, that's a good question. So here's an orange one. Do mums last longer than snapdragons? Yes, mums last longer. This is a perennial. Comes back, I've got some that are, 10 years old. I wish they would die. I'm tired of that color. I want something different, but it keeps coming back. So this is a garden. It's a true perennial. It'll hibernate underground. Usually when it starts to lose its form, snow will come and beat it up and kind of lays over in like January. Usually I'll take my weed whacker and just go zip and just right as close as I can to the ground. And then it will start coming up. Many times by February, you're starting to see the green shoots, this new green structure come back. So this one is truly an annual. It's really a biannual. So now we're getting real deep into this is gardening like 301 here. It lives for a couple of years and then it finally just fades out. The problem is you don't usually see that because it seeds so easily that frequently it's got babies coming right back at it. So you always have waves of snapdragons. So it's kind of a perennial. It's going to last a long time, but the question comes back to, does this root come back every year? This one does. Does this root come back every year? No. It comes back for a couple of years and then the seed that it lets off comes back. So it's technical, but
They both die out around snow time.
This one does.
I mean, flowers do.
This one dies out in the winter, hibernates underground. This one does not, stays green. Yeah, so if I'm planting them right now, go for the snapdragons. So, but I am biased. I like snapdragons. I like pansies. I'm trying to put more pansies in viola, as many as I can right now, where the animals can't get to them. So the backyard's completely fenced off. There's lots of them. Front yard, if they're up, I've got some height so I can put them into where they can't get to it. And secretly, my neighborhood, you're not allowed to fence your front yard, but a 12-foot wire, a 12-volt wire, about a foot off the ground, right through the gardens, kind of turn it on only at night so the dogs don't get zipped, because if the dogs get zipped, my wife's going to let me have it. So, but 12 volt seems to keep them at bay. I don't have it truly fenced off because I want my EPS, my Amazon guy to make it to the front door. But basically, it's just that one wire seems to scare them off enough, keeps them at bay. They come in they make it in about every once or twice a year, maybe. They come down the driveway. So anyway, that's difference. Let's see. Let me take a sip. Don't go anywhere. I know you want to go to that refrigerator, get to the coffee pot. I know. You should come back and see us. Say you watched the class and see us this afternoon. That'd be great. Let's talk fertilizer. So this is complicated. I love the chemistry of gardening. And I like killing things, weeds, bugs. I'm really good at it. So if you have a problem, come see me. I can solve all your problems. But mainly what we're recommending right now, all-purpose plant food. Now there's two kinds of food. Actually, there's a lot of kinds of food. It's ridiculous. There's basically water-soluble foods, things you mix up in your watering can, you pour it on. They're very fast, picked up very quickly by plants. The negative with those is they dissipate very quickly from the soil. So if you're not doing it all the time, regular, like every couple of weeks, you quickly get a plant that gets starving. Didn't get enough. You can't do it once and you're done. Then you've got granular foods. These are pelletized. You spread them out in the yard, and then as water or irrigation or snow hits that, it releases a little bit of food each time you get a water event. So it just sits there on the rocks. It will go through the fabric, through the rocks as weather hits it. You really want to focus on your landscape, granular, because you're going to put this down once. It's good for 3 months. So it's going to fertilize slowly over a very long period of time. A big mistake that my Midwest folks make is we don't have topsoil here. There's nothing good in your yard. Just caliche and rock and clay and grubs, and it's just nothing but nastiness. What little bit you did have, the contractor came in and scraped it off, and they put your footers in your driveway, and some of you literally you're dealing with dead soil. So you plant something in the ground, you wonder why it doesn't grow. There's nothing in the ground that helps work with the plant. You're gonna need to fertilize more often here because of that. Now there's some unique spots out in Dewey. There's some old dairy ranch land. Chino's got some old dairy. They're very rare. They're building up on the ridge lines anymore. It's nothing but rocks and caliche and the yucky stuff. Most of us have that. So you're fertilizing this. Fall is your most important fertilizer, bar none. It's something you don't hear very often because the plants are using this food now to form next spring's flowers, next spring's leaf buds. So if you want lilacs in the spring, you fertilize now. If you want fruit trees, apples, pears, cherries, apricots, nectarines, you fertilize now for the flowers. If you want, just keep going, rhododendrons, all the things that grow. If you want to keep your evergreens green, they'll have an event here in midwinter. It's called winter chlorosis, or yellowing of the foliage. So it gets cold, the plants start to shut down, and you can tell which neighbors didn't fertilize and which ones did, just by how green their evergreens are. So this is your time to fertilize now to keep things looking good. Really critical for natives, ponderosas, pinyon pines, junipers. Fertilize now, because those plants only grow once in the spring. The pinyon pine will elongate that new growth, and then whatever you get, that's all you get. There's only one shot. So if you can fertilize and get that little button on the end of that plant, get that as big and chunky as you can, you elongate and you'll get more growth on it. So fertilize now. This is granular. Just spread it out there. You gardeners, you're going to ask me, let me just get out of the way. You do not need to work it in the ground. You can just put it on top of the ground, and it will slowly work its way into the ground. If you're gardening, you just, I can't accept that. I must work it in the ground. Go ahead. It's going to make zero difference. Just get it on the plants. Where do you focus it? So a lot of folks will focus right at the trunk, and there's no feeder roots at the trunk of a tree or shrub. The feeder roots are out at the drip line. They're real fine white root hairs. Just real tiny, you'll just see them real tiny, like hairs. out there, those are the ones that pick up the water and the food. At the base of the trunk, those are big old barky, just sturdy roots. They're only there for one thing, to keep the tree upright. They can't take in water or very limited water or food. So don't focus your food right there or you're wasting your money. Focus it out on the drip line and put it out here. I'll get to you in just a second. Now, where are the roots? I have no idea, and neither do you. That's why we stop selling the spikes. A lot of times you go, I can nail the spikes in the ground, and that's great. They do last for a year, once and done. For a year, you're good. Where are the roots? You have no idea. So how many of those spikes do you need to pull that off? 20 per tree? It's ridiculous. It's not even worth the energy or the time, and you don't get the results. Go with the granular food. And I would say organics. This is all natural. So it's bird guano and cottonseed meal and some iron, sulfur, some stuff. We're strong believers in all natural because there's so many wells here. And the last thing you want to do is poison yourself by putting synthetic fertilizers out around the well, because it can get into the water table. The water table right here where we're sitting, about 10 feet. They call it Iron Springs for a road, for a reason. Every time we dig a hole, water starts flowing into it. So we want to use natural foods, not synthetic or petroleum-based foods that are just too water soluble. They migrate through the soil too quickly. The plants are happier too. They'd rather be fed real slow, a little bit over a long period of time, than all at once juice it like cocaine. Ooh, yeah, that's great. Oh my God, green. And then they run out like that and they're left wanting some more. So you need to do it more often. Much healthier. Nuance. So you've got three numbers: nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, and then some minor trace elements. The main one you want to focus on are nitrogen, the first number. That causes green leaves, more foliage. So that's why grass foods are typically 21-0-0. It's all nitrogen. Just get the blades big, get them fast. So that's the first number. Nitrogen, phosphorus, that middle number, that's for flowers, roots and blooms. If you want deeper roots and more flowers, more fruit trees, more lilacs, that's that middle number. The last number is potash. We actually have quite a bit of potash in our soils naturally. That's because every mountaintop you see is an old volcano. I mean, Thumb Butte, it's a volcano core. All the ash that was around that volcano is all washed out, and now we're all gardening in it. So there's quite a bit of potash already. But what potash does for you, that last number, it creates its sturdiness. It's disease resistant. So the leaf will be a little thicker, the stems will be a little straighter. You'll just be it's a healthier tree. So that's what the three numbers do: nitrogen, phosphorus, potash. Green, flowers, and sturdiness. The minor trace elements are going to be copper, boron, zinc, all the other little things. A little bit goes a long ways with those. So this has some iron in it, because iron deficiency it's a problem here. And let me tell you why. And this is a unique little bit of the bubble here in the Southwest. Everywhere else in the country is totally different. We're unique. We're better. That's why we live here. The problem is our water is not so good for gardening. So the water is bless you, the water is very alkaline. So if you've ever taken care of a hot tub or a pool, you're always checking the pH, because if you get in a hot tub that's got the pH off, when you get out, you feel like your skin's about to crawl off. You get one that's just right, neutral, you go, yeah, I can stay here all night. Put on another movie. This is good. That's the difference. So if the pH is too acidic or too alkaline, it causes issues. The issues will be yellow foliage, stop blooming, won't fruit. The flowers will be smaller. Those are all indications the pH crept up too high or too low. Now, you'll never get your pH too low here. Impossible. Never seen it once. I've done hundreds of soil tests. Never seen it once. We don't have acid at all in our soils. We have alkalinity. The Midwest, they struggle. with acid soils. The East Coast, acid soils, because they've got all these trees that are always throwing off organic matter, and it breaks down, makes things acidic. We don't have any of that. So what we have is the volcano core, and all the ash has gone out around the gardens. Well, ash is naturally very alkaline, and that's why our soil, it's just juiced with ash. And then we're all dealing with well water, or groundwater. Even the city, they just a big well, they pump it in, sorting all the tanks, you see them around, that's all well water. So those wells are basically pulling up water through ash. So it just taints all the water. So some of you struggle with keeping your plants green. That's why, because the alkalinity has crept up so much. And that's why we juice this with a lot of sulfur. The sulfur is for one reason. It's made here for us. The sulfur naturally brings the pH down. So every time you fertilize, it brings the pH down. If you struggle even with that and you're still going, oh, I'm yellowing, it's not growing the way I want, come talk to us. And we can actually juice a little more and put some more soil sulfur extra on top of your gardens. For myself, I'm a flower guy. I love my color. I love fragrance. I love butterflies. I love hummingbirds. I just love color. It's therapy. I like deadheading my flowers, my coffee in the morning. I was doing it this morning. Just it's therapy for me. In the spring, I naturally get an extra bag of sulfur. I just do everything in the spring. Everything in the yard gets sulfur because I know it's gonna, as I water, as the season progresses, especially as the summer comes, you're watering more often, that pH is gonna take on whatever pH the water is, that's what your garden's gonna take on. You wanna know what the pH of your soil is? Just check the tap water. It'll tell you. It's gonna take on that alkalinity. So just note, put that, if you struggled with things going on, I need more ironite, you don't. You need to lower the pH. Plants will just instantly become green. What happens actually, the technical side, the alkalinity locks up, the minerals are sitting there, but they're all locked up because the pH is so high, the plants can't get to it. It's there, but it can't get to it. The second you lower that pH, it releases all of it, and the plant instantly takes up all the minerals that you need. So TMI, too much information, but you're here for, I don't know, I'm on a riff now. So fertilize now. Two things, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you said that fertilize like this month.
Yeah.
You're not fertilize again until this spring.
Yeah, pretty much. What I do with things that are, let's say, new gardens or evergreens, if you have a lot of pines, I'll fertilize after the new year. Because evergreens they just want to go yellow on me, so I can keep them green by fertilizing at that new year. Or if you have a brand new landscape, the plants they'll continue rooting through the end of the year. They'll continue rooting because the ground doesn't freeze, so you can kind of juice them, get them going. And what I'm wanting to do with a brand new landscape, I want that spring growth just to ignite and go. I had a little plant, and now I've got poof, a big plant. You do that by giving it a little bit more fertilizer than that. But your most important is now. Probably your second most important, actually they're all important. Here's what you're doing. If you're thinking holidays, think this. Think Halloween. It's a prime time. Think New Year, I just mentioned. Think Easter for your spring fertilizing. You're seeing the daffodils are blooming. The forsythia have been out. They're glorious. Think then, and then this is an interesting one. Think Independence Day, 4th of July. The reason you're doing right then, because we have a rain event, we call it the monsoons hit, somewhere right around there. If you could fertilize right then, you could really get those plants to look really healthy through summer. Our most difficult month to grow things here in the mountains, June. Flat out it is the most difficult. Plants have tender new foliage. It's windy. There's a prevailing southwest wind. It never stops all the time until the monsoons hit. Then it kind of interrupts that. Tender new growth, it's dry, like 10% humidity. I think my humidifier only goes down to 10%. I think it goes lower, but it's so dry and windy. Those tender new leaves, it's hard. You just want to keep things alive. You don't have to make them grow. They don't have to look good. But the monsoons come. Humidity jumps up to 35, 40%. There's cloud cover. Plants just ignite with new growth. They celebrate the rains that are coming. So you can fertilize right then at the 4th of July and get all new growth on things. Okay.
Fertilizing is just for like landscape as opposed to veggies.
Yeah. I've got an actual veggie one. Let's go deeper. So I didn't bring that one. I make 2, actually make 3. This is a #1 seller. It's for general use on everything. It could be used on veggies. It's fine. I do make a pure organic one. So this has got some minerals in it. As soon as you put iron and sulfur in it, you can't call it organic. You can call it natural. So I do make a pure organic for you purists. I've got that, and that's bone meal, lots of meals, feather meals, bone meals. It's called fruit and vegetable food. It's made for fruits and vegetables, pelletized. So you can use that one. And then I make a water soluble. And when you put 1 scoop per gallon of water in your watering can, it's called Flower Power. So I'm giving that one right now to my pansies because I want them to be like over the top for Thanksgiving dinner. It's going to be like, whoa, how did he pull that off? All my stuff's dead. Yeah, planted them a little earlier. And I gave them some Flower Power and they'll just be poof over the top. So those are the 3. In addition, so couple nuances. My roses, I love flowers. I have a lot of roses. And they're glorious right now. This is their time to shine. In the spring, if you want roses in the spring, you got to give them this. This is rose food with systemic. The systemic it's got a bug repellent in it. So plant will absorb the fertilizer and it will absorb the bug repellent. So it will keep the aphids and the thrip out of your buds. They're pretty bad. That first crop of flowers, and roses specifically, are really bad. So if you're a rose grower, I would say do this in the fall, which I've already done mine, and I would do it again in the spring. Then I can have flowers come up, and if you don't do that, your flowers will come out, and it looks like someone took a Bic lighter to the front. It looks like the brown edges, tips are in there, and if you open up the bud, you'll see lots of little tiny bugs inside the flower. And so no matter what you spray, you can't get to them because there's so many petals over top of the bugs. This is working from the flower on the inside out instead of from the outside in. It's just something. My name's Ken. I'm a flower grower, and I want you to be successful too. This is what I do. So I think it might help you as well. So if you struggle with your roses, do this. Also, my evergreens, especially things that are blue. That's Deodar cedars, blue junipers, Arizona cypress, things that have an evergreen that has a blue hue. So your Colorado spruce, it's got a blue hue to it. Not so much the green ones, the blue ones. That's aluminum. They're picking. This is actually a green plant. You can rub the blue off. It just is a green plant and it coats itself in this beautiful aluminum colored. That's what makes it blue. So, and there's not a lot of aluminum in our soil. So if your plants were really pretty a couple of years ago, and now you're going, they just don't quite look the same. I want them to glow in the dark because they're so bright. That's going to be add aluminum sulfate. That's this stuff. This is an extra mineral. Just again, it's a mineral. It's aluminum sulfate. So sulfur lowers the pH. Anytime you hear sulfur, it means it lowers pH. And then it's adding aluminum to it. So my Deodar cedars, if you put all that new growth will be silver when it comes out. All the inside growth will be green. So you'll see typically your Colorado spruce will be green on the inside by the trunk, while the new growth is white or blue. That's what's causing that. If you know that, you can have the most glorious Colorado spruce in the entire neighborhood just because you bought a bag of this, put it on there at the drip line. That will take it up, and when it flushes new growth, it should be real silvery blue. Okay, that's a caveat on fertilizer. That's food. Questions on food? Food, did I get you as well? Oh, gotcha. Good question. Yeah, great question. So on new construction, here you go. We know you're there. We got you. With new construction, why did they put the drip lines, the drip emitters, right at the base of the tree when they're putting things in? Because the plants only have roots that are this big. You got to put the drips where the roots are. But they only stay there for a year. Within 2 years, they're out. The roots are like out here. So a mistake can be made if you still have the irrigation right there and it's been 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 years. It's probably not doing you any good. What's happening is the drip emitters that are on the next plant over, that's probably watering the plant over here. And this one's doing the same. They're actually, the roots are going where they can find the water. They should be tuned up and adjusted further as they grow. I'd say every couple of years, tune up your irrigation like you do a car. You need to rotate the tires. You need to do that with your irrigation too. So and I would say with that, because you don't know where the roots are, you can only guesstimate. So I'd take the emitters out and I'd go halfway out the drip line, kind of go halfway, so just bring it out. And I might add an extra emitter or two. So I had 1 or 2 right here. I might do 3 or 4. Just spread them out. So the plants will find the water. They're not going to go if they're hungry, they're going to find food. Just get it close. If they're thirsty, they're going to find water. They're going to go. It's amazing how fast roots can go to water. They'll just get there. Okay, great question. Yeah. Oh, use the aluminum. When do you use the aluminum sulfate? Now. Use it now. Yeah, use it now. Your fall fertilizer. Okay. So if you got evergreens, like you got silvery blue stuff, I put this on, then I put this on, and then the question going to go, which one do I do first? Plants don't care. They just want it on, and it'll release as you get snow and rain and irrigation. It'll release. The plants will pick it up. If they'll find it. It's a game changer. It really makes a difference on how plants look, how healthy your plants look. Yeah.
So we've been following that 4 times a year.
Yep.
We don't have pine trees in our yard, but are there other things that we need to be stepping that schedule up?
Nope, you're good. The only thing I would suggest, so she's doing 4 times a year. So you're doing October, so Halloween, New Year's, Easter, and 4th of July. Great program. I'll bet your plants are nice and thick and full. They look good. Oh, okay. So we need to see if we got enough. Are we putting enough on when we do it? So bagel. We're not buying it. You need that 1 extra bag for the backyard kind of stuff. Could be a quantity thing, not a frequency thing.
Yeah.
And then the other one to watch. I've had this so many times over the years. My lilac bloomed so well 2 years ago, and they stopped blooming. Why did they stop blooming? As they stop blooming, they're starving to death, and they're letting you know. You're going, I'm not going to bloom for you if I'm hungry. I'm just not going to. I'm going to get thin. You're going to see bones coming through my skin. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go all bloomy for you. You got to fertilize them more. And again, if you do that, and you're having some issues, I would say do the regular food. And then there's a all phosphorus. It's called superphosphate. It's 0,18,0. It's all phosphorus. So if you have certain things that just aren't performing the way you wanted, come talk to us, and we'll help you kind of correct that thing. Another one, the fall colors here. So the maples are glorious red right now. And if your maple's been red and all of a sudden it's yellow, that's not right. Your plant's talking to you. You're a gardener. You picked up on it going, mine doesn't look like that one. It's telling you, I'm not happy over here. I want to be like them, and I don't feel like I can join the party, so I'm just going to go yellow, drop early, and I'm just going to bed. That's a pH. The pH has crept up way too high. Haven't been fertilizing enough. So there we'll probably do the fertilizer. We'll juice it with some extra sulfur. So these are not, everyone in the room doesn't have those problems. Probably one in the room has that. That's why we're here throughout the year. Come talk to us, and we'll help you. We'll help you correct that. You can do this. But food, the most important thing right now, number 1, do this and do it more often. You cannot fertilize enough, it seems like here, because there's no food in your soil. So, okay. Went way too long on fertilizer, yeah.
Do we water after we fertilize?
No, you do not have to water after you fertilize. I'm the laziest gardener you've ever met. I just chuck it on and I walk away. Watch my birds. So that's kind of the rain. I'm letting the rain, irrigation, I'm letting the weather do that for me. I don't rake it through the rock. I try to put it where the drip line is. I put it where I want. I try not to do it by hand. I've got a little hand spreader, kind of try to get it even as I can, making them happy. I feel like they're happy when I'm out there. Here you go. How you feel? Dunk. Plants actually, they pick up on that stuff. They really do. Okay, yes.
What if you don't have irrigation under the native trees?
Just put it on, and we have a rain event every month of the year. There's no time we don't have. I never know how much, but you always have some sort of event because we're not in the desert. We're up in the mountains. You're getting 17 to 19, 20 inches of rain a year. Just take advantage of that. Just use that. So there are times when you get more. That's why July 4th, you just know the rains are coming. So you're going to get, that's a great time to fertilize. So, okay. We all done with fertilizer? Water. Let's cover water. It's another complicated topic. Big blunder, especially if you have landscapers helping you or maintenance or mow and blow guys. These guys just clean things up. You're going to want to turn your irrigation off. Drain the backflow valve. A lot of you have this big, huge mechanism hanging up out of the yard. Many times it has a green bag over it. You've seen these out in the neighborhoods. That's a backflow preventer. What that's there for is if there's a drop in city water pressure, they don't want your irrigation being sucked into the potable water supply. So when it comes back on, we can drink it all. It's a backflow. So it's there for a reason. It also is usually made of metal, usually brass or copper, and it likes to freeze and break. And it's an expensive part. I mean, the part itself is like $200-300. Then you got to pay a plumber $200 or $300 and put a new one on. Don't let that thing freeze. Now, what will happen is your landscapers will want to come drain your system, and they'll take all the water out of this so they won't have to replace it or freeze it. So you won't be yelling at them going, how dare you let that freeze? So for me, I leave my irrigation on year round and I water year round. There are serious dry spots in the winter. I mean, there's some long, you can go 2-3 months, zero moisture. I know I just said we have rain events every month, but some of them are so minuscule that they don't have enough to keep your plants happy. Your plants can literally, we call it winter burn or winter kill, where the plants go through a cold event and they're dry. So plants naturally have antifreeze. This is a #1 selling yucca. It's a red yucca. They've been in bloom like crazy. If this thing gets really, really dry, the moisture, the antifreeze that's inside the structure of these plants can't flow. And so you'll start to see the tips all burn off. We call that winter kill. That's just classic. It was dry, didn't have enough water when it went through this cold event. If you've got containers, raised beds, some color, some flowers, some vegetables, if you hear in December that first event's coming, looks like we might get some snow, you know the event. Your neighbors all run to the grocery store. They buy all the toilet paper will be gone. I don't know why, but it's all gone. I don't know why they lost their head. It's only going to be there for a day, and it's going to be gone, but they do. Before that event comes, water your plants. Rehydrate them. Keep that antifreeze that's naturally in the structure of that plant, keep that flowing. So it's kind of counterintuitive. You're thinking, oh, they'll be wet, they'll be colder. They won't be colder. They'll be warmer if you keep that. So that's one thing I can really help you with, especially if you've got a lot of container gardens. Don't let those containers get dry. Water them. Now, if your landscaper turned off your system, you might have to go old school. You might have to actually take a watering can and go water your plants. I know it's painful. You've got everything automated, or your grandparents actually used a hose and watered things. You might have to do that through winter if they turned off your irrigation. So I'll probably wait mid-November. Right now I'm still watering real early. Like I want things before the heat of the day, I want them moist. So I typically will water it like dawn. I'll move that as we start to get cold because I don't want my irrigation running when it's freezing out. I'll move that to midday, probably middle of November. I probably have until the middle of December to do it, but I'll just do it so I don't forget. So I'll adjust the time frames. The amount of water I give it never changes. It's always the same. The frequency and the time of day is what I'm playing with. So I'll move it in a couple of weeks to middle of the day, and then I'll cut back the frequency. I'm already starting to do that. I was watering my containers every day. Now I'm to every 3 days, just because they aren't drying out as much. It's not as hot as it was. It's pretty cool. The nights are cool, so plants aren't using as much moisture. So I'm trying to, the same amount of time, I'm just changing how many days I go between watering. I was watering every week for my trees and shrubs that are well established. I back that off to about every 8-9 days. I'll go to every 10 or 14 as we get colder and colder. So I'll just back it off. Same amount I'll still water it for that same 2 hours. For my big old hairy trees, they're established, they're beefy. They want a lot when they want it, but they don't want, you can overdo it with some of these things. The reason I brought this up, I've seen a couple mistakes where people think this is a grass and they cut back right to the ground, and don't do that. Don't let your landscapers do, it's a rookie move. This is evergreen. It should stay up here like this. Just take this spent flower and cut it off as close as you can when it's done blooming. So those bean pods, they're on there right now. I think they're kind of pretty. You can spray paint them red, turn them into a holiday thing, or you can just cut them off, but leave the structure of the plant intact, okay? Let's go down the line here. I brought this one because I prefer this one over red-tipped photinia. I put my kids through college selling red-tipped photinia. It's the #1 seller. I would never have it in my own yard, but it does. We do sell a lot of it because it grows fast. You get a lot of plant for the money. But it gets disease, it gets mildews, it gets every bug in the neighborhood, nothing but problems. This is its cousin, or the counter to it. This is red clusterberry cotoneaster, or cotton Easter is how you'd spell it. This one gets the same size. It's going to be 10 by 10 by 10, big old evergreen. Gets white flowers in the spring, and the white flowers turn into clusters of red berries. That's red clusterberry cotoneaster. I like this one because animals don't eat it. It doesn't get any disease. No bugs like it, but it's beautiful. So it grows the same size. It's related to our native cotoneaster that grows out wild. You'll see a couple of varieties that are just out there. So this one, I'll give it a haircut a little bit right now. Getting kind of wild. I'll just kind of keep them trimmed somewhat. That major trimming, like you got a hedge, I want to really cut on it, wait on that. They start flushing new growth in March. So usually I'll do my major trimming into February, March. I want to do it right before they start to flush new growth. And the only reason I do it is for aesthetics, for myself. I don't want to see all those cut back limbs. I don't want to look like it's been butchered all winter long. If you cut it way back right now, it's going to slow down, and you get to enjoy that butchery all winter. If you just leave it intact and then prune it right before it starts to flush new growth, that's going to be into February, March, anytime in March. It's going to juice up, and you'll hardly be within days. It'll be flushing new growth, and you won't see any of that growth in the cutback. Okay, just caveats. The berries, I don't know. Check with your pediatrician or your veterinarians what I'm legally allowed to say. But I don't know. I've always had this around my kids and my dogs. They're still alive. They own garden centers now, so it's like they're pretty good. Haven't had issues. Birds can eat them. I do know birds will eat them. I don't know if that carries over to kids and stuff. So I have a feeling it's going to be like pyracantha berries. Actually, the birds wait for them to ferment. You'll see them partying out there in your trees, going, "Yeah, pass some more berries over here." So I see it as a food, as a food and nesting source for my birds. They'll roost in it, that kind of stuff. Probably the internet could tell you a little bit stuff. This you're seeing, it's a native. We're doing on time, just about out. I'm wrapping it up, I promise. It's just you have so many questions. You all are engaged. This makes speaking exciting. This is a native you see growing out wild up in the Bradshaws. Typically, it's a ground cover underneath the junipers and oaks. This is Virginia creeper. It's one of the first things that turned red in the fall of the year. So a great native. It is going to drop its leaves. It is deciduous. So there's evergreens and there's deciduous. Evergreens hold their foliage or some foliage, and then deciduous lose all their leaves. So that's the difference. That's the only reason I brought this. So it's native to Prescott, native to the mountains, you'll see it. That's on your radar. You'll see it out in the wild. Yeah. And the reason is it's got a real big, juicy, carroty kind of root structure. So it stores a lot of water in its roots. You don't see that, but it makes it very drought hardy. This can be, typically we grow it up, trellises, that kind of stuff, but it's just as pretty as a ground cover. Growing over that hillside, it keeps washing away. You need some irrigation control. This is a great one for that. Okay, Virginia creeper. This one I like in containers because it's an evergreen. This is Indian hawthorn, or Rhaphioliptus is the botanical name, but Indian hawthorn. It's confused right now. It's been so nice out. Typically, it starts to bloom like this in the spring. It's been setting flowers all summer. I went, I feel so good, I think I'll bloom now. And it'll bloom again in March and April. So it's a good evergreen. I like it because it's short, tight, full. It looks handsome. It never just always looks like this. And then it also blooms with a real fragrant flower to it, typically in spring. It looks really good in containers, raised beds. It'll take the heat. You put it right by the driveway, down the driveway. It'll take that reflective heat just fine. It loves that. A wall in the backyard with the sun, just south-facing wall. It'll take that radiant heat and not blister or get burned out. So Indian hawthorn's really good for hot spots. This is one of those adorable, cute. #1 selling adorable, cute. It's Alberta spruce. It's painfully slow growing. I mean, this is one you do want to spend a few more dollars on and get the size you want, because it takes forever to get from here to this size. I mean, this is this year's growth, that much. So how long is it going to take to get any kind of growth on it? Which is makes them great by the front door. Those pillars going up, because they're not going to overgrow their space. They're never going to overpower their environment. So in containers, they scream, put some Christmas lights and some bows, and let's celebrate the holidays together. That's kind of that's why we sell so many of them at this time of year. Okay. Alberta spruce. Yep.
What about the root system? How big is that? You're saying it doesn't get that big with the roots.
Roots don't, they'll stay in a small pot forever. Yeah, for almost forever. I mean, yes, I don't know about forever. You'll be bored with it before it outgrows its space. I literally get bored with plants sometimes. You're going, okay. But I own a garden center, so maybe that makes sense. These two, I'll just do this one. This is Nandina. Californians call it heavenly bamboo. Both names are both the same. This is an evergreen, looks like this. And the reason I bring this up is it can get some size to it, but in the sun, the more sun it gets, it'll turn bright red. If it's in more shade or the north side of your house, it'll stay green. So if you wonder, why is theirs red, mine green? Why is mine green, there's red? What's going on here? It's all comes down to sun. So if you see that, just letting you know, great plant, evergreen. Animals don't eat it. I mean, it looks delicious. I want some ranch dressing, have a bowl full of it, but they don't eat it. I think it's a sap thing that gets to it. So until next week, ciao. Yeah. Okay, so this is the one we mentioned. This is very similar to this one, but different. This one is pyracantha, also called firethorn, because they have thorns all over them. This is one you don't want to handle unless you've got some gloves, like big, like leather gloves, or have your landscapers prune it. but it's so robust, so hardy. This is one we spec into commercial properties because you can't kill this. Run it over with a semi, still grows. If you've got rentals, go with this one because your renters can't kill it. But this can get pretty big. It's a big, like 10-foot. It just gets some girth to it. It does look like this year round. Before the berries, it has white flowers on it. And then these berries turn into, the same way as kids, you just throw them at each other. This is the one that we were doing that with. Pyracantha, great plant for up here. It doesn't get it does have thorns. That's the only negative with it. So if you don't like thorns, go with this one. This has no thorns. So, and how do we wrap this? How do we land this thing? Oh, this is the same exact plant as this one. This one gets gigantic. This one gets cute. So I put this on the edge of my back patio where the sidewalk goes up around. I don't want you cutting over the stairs and giving my insurance a workout. So I plant this right there so you're not going to cut the corner and you're not going to mess with this. It's evergreen all the time. It's loaded up with orange berries right now. But this one is a bush form. This is a big, almost not tree, but it's bigger scale. Think hip high and way above head high. But both pyracantha. And then I'll leave you with this one. We've already talked about Colorado spruce. Yeah, I guess I should do these two. We'll do two more, then we'll call it. So I don't like ponderosa pine because when you plant a ponderosa pine, you're not planting, it's not a plant, you're planting a trunk. All the foliage is way up there and it's hard to landscape. You need to design, it's hard to design with ponderosas. Pinyon pines you can do that with easily. I prefer the Austrian or the Scotch pine or the black pines, the ones that hold their foliage right to the ground. Because now you can design a landscape and you can see it mature and it doesn't ever grow past that design. It actually accentuates and becomes more stylish with age. So that's one you kind of want to watch too. These are both cousins. They're both pinus, long needles. They both get green, but this will hold the foliage right to the ground. That's one reason I bring this one up. 40 foot tall by 15, 18 foot wide. It's big. It's a solid trunk, straight up 30, 35, 40 feet tall, big swooping branches, but it holds the foliage right to the ground. Okay. Same thing. This is Vanderwolf pine. This one you might want to come up close and look at. It's just so soft. You just want to hug it. It's like the teddy bear of pine trees, but it looks like it's got blue needles on the top, white on the bottom. So you've seen this two-toned kind of look to it. It's got two colors on every needle. So it's very unusual. Again, pine tree. If you're going to kill any of these evergreen pines, it will be from overwatering. So you want to probably once a week, plenty for these guys. And they'll want to dry out in between the water irrigation. So if water pools in your yard, don't plant a pine tree or a spruce. Put them out on the edges where you know you get some drainage because their roots are real sensitive. That's what makes them so drought hardy too. They're very drought hardy plants. But Vanderwolf pine does really, really good here. And that's what I had for you today. Wrapped it up and I'm 4 minutes over. I can answer one or two more questions over here and one over here if you got any, or we cover them all. Look for the handouts coming your way. So it covers all of this in detail in written form. So if you missed some notes, it'll be in your inbox here shortly. So next week, what is our garden class on? Well, you have a class through November, 9:30 on Saturdays. So take a look. But before you go, just the old actor in me, just have to have you clap for it. Just clap a little bit. So I'll let you do that. Makes me feel good. So, and I'll hang